My background is as an actor. I started acting when I was 11 years old, and I acted in maybe close to 100 sort of feature film and television productions and commercials and that kind of thing. And I got kind of disillusioned with acting, I think more so the powerlessness of it. And I was trapped into kind of playing the same roles of the rebellious girlfriend or whatever. So I was looking for something new, and when I was 18, I read Cat's Eye by Margaret Atwood, and I'd read it before it hit the shelves. It was on the tail of The Handmaid's Tale, was out in cinemas, and I, of course, was familiar with Margaret Atwood, and I read this, I read Cat's Eye, and I fell madly in love with it, and I became obsessed with becoming a part of seeing it be turned into a movie. So through my acting connections, I basically put out feelers. I said, I want to option this book. I'd never produced anything before in my life. I reached her manager, and she told me that, you know, there was some steep competition because Jodie Foster was interested, and Jane Fonda's company was interested, and yada, yada. And I basically went, all right. So I had a week to put together a treatment, find a co-producer, and attach a director. And I managed to do that, and I met with Margaret Atwood, and she went for it. And so that was my sort of move behind the camera into producing, and working on that film really became my university, because there were so many ups and downs in trying to make that movie, and going from one director and one lead actor to another, from Meryl Streep to Glenn Close to Jessica Lange but I learned so much in the process, and I started producing, and I've produced 18 films, I think, combination of shorts and feature films, and that really is kind of my foundation to filmmaking, is just knowing how to get things done. And in 2006, I think, I'd done some short films, but I was inspired to make a feature film with my son when he was 12 years old. And I think in 2008, I had a film at the Toronto International Film Festival called Nurse Fighter Boy, which I was the producer and co-writer of, which was done through the Canadian Film Centre, which is a school founded by Norman Jewison. And that same year, I had my first feature film, Only, which starred my son Jacob Switzer, and that was at TIFF the same year. And then I I fell in love with directing, but I would say that I definitely split my time between producing films for other people, like Peter Mettler and other filmmakers that I'm really inspired by, and then directing also. So it keeps me on my toes, I think, moving from helping other people make their own films happen, and then, trying to sort of flex my muscles and apply what I've learned to the projects that I've written and want to direct myself.
Right. So going back to Cat's Eye, that's really the story of your career is doing this stuff yourself. It sounds like you just jumped right into it. You correct me if I'm wrong, but you had no formal training or anything at a film school? Is that right?
No, I think the numerous years I spent on sets as an actor was really my training, because I formed my network through working with so many crews, working with so many other actors, working with so many directors. That really became my network. So when I started producing myself, I had all those people to call on. And I would say Toronto's been really generous with me transitioning from being an actor to sort of generating my own projects and working, behind the scenes as a writer, director, producer. There was no sort of stigma like, you're an actor, that's where you should stay, or anything like that. There was only support from, I would say, not only the actors and crews, but also the community and equipment houses and post-production houses and everything. That was really encouraging for me. And then that my first feature film got into the Toronto International Film Festival. That was a huge platform. So I would say that man, like a lot of those encouraging factors kind of kept me going. I mean, if my first feature didn't get in a TIFF, or if it was just roadblock after roadblock, it's hard not to be ground down, you know? I talk a lot about, you know, just go out there and do it, and you know, it's an exciting time to be an independent filmmaker because we can make high quality work, I think, for very little money, and we have access to audiences, but it's really hard if you've got no one sort of championing and supporting you, because you can't do it by yourself, really. I mean, DIY is like do it yourself with a village, you know? you can't do it yourself. Yeah. It's too hard.
Right. So do you think that then, you know, being an actor for so long and acting in so many different, you know, films and TV shows, does that help you when you're directing? Like, do you feel yourself morphing into like the actor side whenever you want to connect with your actors, and then you know so much about behind the scenes too? I mean, do you feel yourself trying to play that many roles on set, or are you just focused on, you know, one thing?
No, I'm a multitasker. I mean, in my life in general, I can't cook because I can't just focus on one thing. Mm-hmm. I have to cook and do emails and wash the dishes and put in a load of laundry. So I really love the multitasking of working with a very small crew of, you know, just 2 or 4 people, and having hands on getting the locations, having my hands on the transport, on all the scheduling, on the post-production supervision, on working with the actors, on writing it, on all the creative and the administrative stuff. That doing that really creates a balance in me. So I really like that. But I would say for sure, all my experiences as an actor has really helped me work with actors as a director, because first of all, I love actors. I love working with them, so I really get in the ring. I have a way that I imagine the performance in my dreams. I have a way that I hear the dialogue in my head, having, you know, spent time writing each line. But then I really love collaborating. So I think that sometimes in my films being described, there's always a nod to improvisation. But I really would say, and I think if you spoke to the people that work with me, there's very little to no improvisation, but there is flexibility, and it's a kind of controlled chaos where, you know, as you have your vision of the film and you have your plan of execution and your goals and aims for the day, but there has to be a willingness and a place to surrender into the new thing that's a true collaboration between me and the cinematographer, or me and the actor. So it becomes a thing I can't possibly imagine at my computer or in pre-production. The film really becomes a living organism. And that's really exciting to me. And that ability of trusting your actors, but also knowing when you want to sort of stay true to your idea and you just need them to kind of, you know, be on side with that push and pull of it, of letting go and holding on to stuff, for me is the essential practice of filmmaking. And it's a practice. That's why you have to keep doing it, because you can get out of shape with that really quickly. It's a muscle.
Yeah. Yeah, and what you're saying about, you know, loving actors and loving to work with actors and everything, that reminds me of what you had said about the way that you had made the Animal Project after you spoke to us after the screening at the Three Rivers Film Festival. And I just kind of want you to talk a little bit about that, because forgive me, it's been a couple months since I heard you talk about that. But I remember it being a really incredible, you know, way of starting a film that I had never heard before.